Hey, what's going on, people? It's Lando in the building tonight. I'm hosting a show this evening because we're undergoing some technical difficulties. Maximilian can't join us tonight, but we're going to get that resolved soon and we're going to come back with a powerful show. Just for tonight, I'm going to do a little snippet and drop something on y'all. This is going to just be a quick discussion about the term incel and how that's being thrown a lot more often these days. The term came about several years ago, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you understand what it's supposed to mean: involuntary celibacy. And it's a term that's applied to men that, quote unquote, can't get a woman. And because of this, people assume because a man can't get a woman, that he may be predisposed to violent acts against women. And I just want to kind of straighten some things out because this concept is giving women too much credit and too much of an oversimplification of why these things can possibly occur. You know, a woman being the center of a man's life and then leaving is not the direct result of indiscriminate violence for whatever reason. I just want to think about the psychology behind these things. I mean, usually, when men create great acts of violence against anybody, it's very isolated in number. It's a very isolated event, and it can stem from any number of reasons, not just because he can't get laid. What I first want to discredit is just the notion that if a man isn't with a woman or doesn't have a woman or spends a lot of time alone, that he's a threat to society. That is a very arrogant approach to why men make certain choices in their life when it comes to their position on relationships, I'll say. So I think it's really wrong. I mean, it's almost tantamount to accusing someone of rape if you just outright point at somebody and say, oh, they must be an incel just because they don't have a relationship or a love life or anything like that. So that's number one, or anything like that. Wouldn't it suggest that there's more to it, that they don't have relationships in general? It's not just women. Wouldn't it suggest that they don't have very many connections in life at all? If you truly want to examine someone psychologically, so to speak. And if that's the case, if a man doesn't have any connections in life, let's think about why is that? What does it take for a man to develop communication or connections with the people around him or even women? Oh, wait a minute, I forgot. We as men are always put in a position where we have to prove our worth in order to be involved in other people's lives. So, what if there is a subsection of men who feel inadequate for whatever reason or don't know how to develop that social market value? Or I don't know, maybe there's just things missing involved with that person on how they've developed when they were younger. That leads to a state of isolationism. Women never deal with that. Being alone is a choice for women because there's not a moment in time where women go without getting attention from somebody or something, and that is a luxury. You don't even have to think about, is somebody paying attention to you or worried about your well-being. Now let me jump back to what I said real quick about isolationism, or just being an individual that's isolated from outside influence. There are people out there that are constantly surrounded by people but not connected to them, either because they don't know them, or you know, they don't know how to get other people to take an interest in their lives. I don't know what there's many iterations on what the case may be. But the point is, what happens to the human mind when they're isolated? What kind of a psychological impact could that have when there is no significance, where there's no interconnection to other people? And it's something that's not intentional or self-inflicted. It's just something that just happens over time. I mean, think about how you would feel if you were put into a hole and left there and forgotten about. How would that affect you mentally? I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking people to think about that. You know what I mean? And then for people that might be involved in dealing with these types of things, and I'm just speaking hypothetically, I'm just throwing stuff out there. Uh, when people finally grasp onto making any kind of connection, how will that affect them when those connections all of a sudden disappear? You know, it's like a person who has been starving for a long period of time. You give them food, but then take it away before they could actually take a bite of it. How are they going to react? Now, again, I'm not limiting this to only a man's access to a woman. I don't think that has anything to do with it whatsoever. I think it goes way deeper than that because as men, we're built to endure far more stress and anxiety than women can ever imagine. Imagine if women had to deal with the psychological stresses and pulls and pushes of society that men have to. I just wanted to bring up this topic just to get you guys' opinion on just the whole idea of quote unquote incels or, you know, involuntary celibates. I think it's really silly to like coin a phrase like that because it just shows that women don't see men as human beings. To give a certain section of men such a label to where they're just seen as these creatures. You know what I mean? I mean, people are people, and people should be viewed as people. You know, everybody's fragile in certain levels in their own way, and I just don't think it's right to minimize or exploit what other people go through that you may not relate to in whatever way. I don't know. Just my thought. Uh, like I said, leave a comment. That's all I got for you tonight. I'm signing out. Peace.